Jag heter Ludvig Svensson och är Life Science-analytiker här. Med mig nu har jag Magnus Korfitsen som är vd på Ascelia Pharma. Du ska köra en liten presentation här.
It's great to be here, and I'm looking very much forward to giving you all a presentation on Ascelia Pharma and the exciting phase 3 data we recently announced for Orviglance. In my presentation, I will be making a number of forward-looking statements. So first of all, Ascelia Pharma is about identifying, developing and commercializing novel drugs that address the unmet medical need for people with rare cancer conditions. And in our pipeline, we have 2 drugs in development. Our lead program is Orviglance, which has now moved into the registration phase after we had very successful phase 3 data. I will talk more about that today. We also have Oncoral. Oncoral is ready for phase 2 and has exciting potential in the treatment of solid tumors, including gastric cancer, which is the lead indication. Also a very exciting program that we have. So first of all, I will be talking about Orviglance. And first, I want to share about why we are so excited about Orviglance. Orviglance addresses an unmet medical need for a well-defined patient population. Patients in need of liver imaging with severe renal disease. This translates into an $800 million global addressable market, for which Orviglance has the potential to be the clear product of choice. We are so excited about Orviglance not just because of the commercial opportunity and the market potential and the unmet need, but also because we have seen from 9 different clinical studies a consistent positive effect and a good safety profile. That puts us in a good position in terms of moving it into the registration phase. Very importantly, we also have scaled up manufacturing, so we can manufacture at commercial scale and supply the market and bring all the Orviglance needed for patients. This is a very attractive opportunity we have ahead of us. And let me talk a bit more about Orviglance. So first of all, I want to spend a couple of minutes about what problem Orviglance solves and how it helps patients. In cancer care, millions of patients have cancer every year, and the risk of cancer either originating in the liver or for the bigger medical issue for affecting more people is metastasis to the liver. So cancer starting in one organ and spreading to the liver. That is very important to diagnose early and monitor response to treatment when cancer has appeared in the liver. And therefore medical imaging is important and critical part of the treatment of patients. The best medical imaging for liver cancer in the liver is MRI. And today MRI of the liver is usually enhanced by injecting a gadolinium-based imaging drug or contrast agent. In patients with severe renal disease, this has the potential to provide fatal side effects in these patients. And therefore all gadolinium products have warnings, including black box warnings, for use in this patient population. Orviglance, on the other hand, is based on manganese, so no gadolinium, and hence no gadolinium-associated risks. And we have orphan drug designation from the FDA for using Orviglance in the population at highest risk of severe and potentially fatal side effects from gadolinium. So that's a medical issue that we are addressing and where we are having a first-in-class product. So the data we announced a few weeks ago were very, very strong. We had all 3 radiologist readers having a very significant effect, showing superiority of Orviglance versus the unenhanced, which is the comparator we have agreed with the FDA. The strong effect translated into very significant p-values. All of the readers for all endpoints on the primary endpoint had less than 0.001. We also had a very thorough analysis of the efficacy of the and the variability of the readers. The conclusion from the study statisticians and external statisticians who all reviewed the data was that the reliability was high and the conclusions are clear. So obviously we're super excited about the outcome, paving the way moving into our registration phase and beyond to patients. So collectively we have completed 9 clinical studies, and in all of these studies we saw consistent positive efficacy and safety profile. All of this will need to go into the NDA submission, so the new drug application that we will submit to the FDA in the middle of next year. The new drug application is a huge document, if you will, consisting of more than 500 documents plus databases, so it's a lot of information. It has three key modules, one involving the clinical documentation from all the clinical trials, one involving the non-clinical from all the non-clinical studies, and then an extensive package as well on the manufacturing. So all of this we will put into the NDA, and the activities that will bring us there, some of the key milestones are the completion of the study report from Sparkle, which we expect in early Q4 this year. We will have a pre-submission meeting with the FDA, where we have the opportunity to discuss the application with them in draft format and receive feedback, and if they have some feedback prior to the submission, we will incorporate those in the final submission, which we expect to send in by the middle of next year. Beyond the registration, we have the market. The market, as mentioned earlier, is an $800 million addressable market globally. Almost half of that is in the US. We have done extensive market research to look and understand what the opportunity looks like, and how the roadmap, and how to ensure that we can access as many patients who need Orviglance. We have also stated that we will commercialize through partners, and that is a process that is ongoing. So if we just take a brief deep dive into the US opportunity, the US being almost half the global market. Annually, there are about 100,000 procedures done in the patient population that we are targeting. 100,000 procedures where Orviglance should be used. These procedures are centralized at the larger hospitals. Through our extensive market research, we have looked at databases and understood where the procedures are taking place today in this patient population. And 75% of them are in 400 medical accounts. So it's a focused commercial effort that makes it easier to come out to as many patients as possible in a financially attractive manner. We've also done extensive pricing analysis, where we look at the value that Orviglance provides, the opportunity for better diagnosing and monitoring patients. And based on benchmark analysis and payer, you could say, interactions, the range we foresee would be somewhere between 3,000 and 4,500. So, and coming back to the partnering, our strategy is to find partners for Orviglance in various geographies. Obviously, the US being the largest, that is the most important partnership that we are looking for. That will also limit the investment that we need to make to bring Orviglance to patients. And we think that is a very attractive way forward for the company, for patients, and our shareholders. Now switching gears, I'm talking about a few minutes of Oncoral. So Oncoral is a therapeutic for the treatment of solid tumors. It's based on irinotecan. And irinotecan is approved today as an infusion drug given usually in the hospital or the oncology clinic once every third week. We have a patented formulation that allows us to put the irinotecan molecule into a tablet. When we have it as a tablet, that allows the patient to take irinotecan every day, of course in smaller daily doses compared to a large dose every third week. Based on data, we believe that daily dosing can drive better efficacy and better safety, and that's what we intend to prove with Oncoral. Our initial indication is going to be gastric cancer. We are very excited about a program that we put together where we will combine Oncoral together with Lonsurf, which is an approved tablet therapy for treating gastric cancer. We will demonstrate in this study, hopefully, that the combination of Oncoral and Lonsurf is better than Lonsurf alone. Today, Lonsurf is approved as monotherapy for the treatment of gastric cancer. So we think this is an exciting way forward. And we have a small clinical collaboration with Taiho Oncology, who has developed and commercializes Lonsurf in the US. So a very exciting opportunity with Oncoral moving forward. Now I'd like to sort of end my presentation with just giving a brief update on the financials before looking at the milestones ahead. So in the Q1 we had a cost of 16 million Swedish kronor, which is a slight increase from the previous quarter, but that is driven by the reevaluation cost and NDA preparation cost. When we look at our balance sheet, we ended the quarter with 27 million in cash. We have then drawn 15 million from our facility from Pharma Nord. So the 15 million should be added to the 27. With our current outlook, that allows us with a cash runway into Q2 of next year. Before we reach Q2 next year, there are a number of very important milestones that we believe will create value. We are moving forward in the NDA process, and we will have the full study report from the Sparkle phase 3 study early Q4 this year. We will expect to have conclusions from the pre-submission meeting with the FDA in Q1 next year. The submission in itself is expected during the middle of next year. In parallel with the NDA work that we are doing, we are also ensuring launch readiness, including supply chain work. And then, as mentioned, we have a strategy of finding commercialization partners that will make sure that Orviglance get to as many patients as possible. Also, we will move forward when the timing is right with Oncoral, and we think the potential of Oncoral is very substantial and are excited to move forward with that opportunity. So with that, I'd like to end my presentation and look forward to having some questions, Ludwig.
Yes. So can you elaborate on the statistical significance of Orviglance in this Sparkle study? How does the p-values compare to your initial expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I was very impressed. I was positively surprised. I have always been a big believer in Orviglance. We've seen very strong data from earlier studies, but I think all three readers having a very significant effect, which is sort of translated into these very low p-values. I think that was a very positive surprise. It gives us a lot of confidence moving the asset forward, both in terms of finding partners, but also in terms of the regulatory processes where we will need to demonstrate, obviously, that it's safe and effective. With this data, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah. And the press release mentions mild to moderate nausea in some common adverse events in the study. Were there any other notable adverse events observed in the study?
No, it's consistent with what we've seen. Yeah. So we have not seen any serious adverse drug reaction, which is great. It puts us in a good place for use in the clinic in a vulnerable patient population. So I think that's really strong. So it's really good safety data as well.
Yeah, and what measures, we've been through this a little bit before, I know, but what measures were taken to address the high intra-reader variability that you discovered in mid-2023, and how confident are you in the robustness in this new evaluation?
So let me start with the second part of the question first. Yeah. I'm very confident, and I'm confident because the study statisticians and we added an external statistical expert to review the data before we could make a conclusion. And what we hear from them is very clear. This is very robust data. Mm. It allows us to conclude that intra-reader variability is not an issue in this process. So very strong efficacy, not being disqualified by high intra-reader variability. So that is really, really good. Mm. Coming to the first question in terms of what we've done, we implemented much more, you could say, stringent training of the readers so that they could follow the 4-point scale throughout the study, and those measures, including others, seem to have worked because now we don't have the issue with intra-reader variability.
Right. And which specific steps remain before you can actually submit the NDA?
Yeah, so I outlined some milestones, and you could say the key is really finalizing the study report. When we have the study report, that supports us in the dialogue with the FDA at the pre-submission meeting. And based on what comes up, I think we have had some very constructive meetings with the FDA in the past. They have given us advice, and we've been listening and understanding the feedback and implementing it into the plan. So I think the road ahead looks pretty clear. I don't see. I mean, there's a lot of work, but I don't see any sort of major bumps on the road.
Right. And you seem to go with the partner strategy right now. Is that true, or is there still an option for you to commercialize Orviglance in the US by yourself?
We have a strategy to get a partner in the US and in other countries as well. Maybe it's a global partner, we don't know at this point. But I think that is by far the most attractive opportunity for Ascelia and shareholders to make sure that we build, get some of the very substantial value that I personally believe is in Orviglance without having to invest a tremendous amount of capital. Yep. So I think that kind of partnership model could work really well and provide a good financial return both for us and for a partner.
Right, right. And lastly, how do you plan to ensure that patients, especially those with severe impaired kidney function, are aware and have access to Orviglance?
So I think we've done a lot of very good work in understanding how do we bring it out, looking at distribution systems and how we bring it all the way to the patients. We also have engaged a lot with payers to make sure we can understand what the barriers to getting the best possible prices. We have a good understanding of that, and that's something we want to share with a partner. And that's why we also want to bring a partner on board, because they, as a much bigger company, will have more muscles, more people to bring it out to all the patients in need. But we put in, you could say, a lot of the very important groundwork that will also help a partner to make sure that Orviglance is successfully launched and brought out to as many patients as possible.
Right. Great. Thank you for a nice presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here.